FoxBody Mustangs. They are 30 plus years old now, and likewise are their interiors. They're getting harder and harder to find, and we all know black interiors, the price has gone up a lot. In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to salvage some black interior. You can find this stuff a lot of the time cheaper, old, faded out. A lot of people, their first reaction is just go and re-dye it black. Not always the best case. Sometimes you can preserve this original black interior and keep it going with its original finish. Yeah. So we all know black interiors getting harder and harder to find. Blue interiors are making a comeback. They're still pretty hard to find. And of course, red, somehow, yes, Chris at the Infamous Project, you love them. They're also making a comeback. Black interiors are commanding a huge premium though. There are really nice interiors guys are parting out, and you can get it complete for $3,000–$4,000 plus. But there are other options. You can go to late model restoration and buy replacement panels. They're not always the nicest. You can buy your door sills, kick panels, vents even now. They have a cluster surround, but the quality isn't always the nicest. The finish isn't always the nicest, and it doesn't always match that OE look. But there are some other options. You can go out, you can find some cheaper options. And what I've done here is actually, this dash further in the background here, I paid $100 for that dash a couple years ago. It came with the HVAC ducting, it's got the dash pad, it's got the defrost grill, and the vents, and I believe it might have had a cluster surround, but I can't quite remember. $100, and that's Canadian, so that's like 75 bucks US. Dirt cheap. It also came with this glove box, and you can see it doesn't really look too great. The dash, on the other hand, looks pretty good. When I first got that, I took a little bit of time and just cleaned it up to see if I could get that to look pretty decent. And that's what we're going to go over today. I've got this really crusty looking dash here. That is indeed black, although it might not look like it. It is black, and I'm going to try and get that one looking as good as that one. I haven't touched that since I gave that its original treatment. I've got some other panels here too. These door sill plates, they're pretty tough looking. This set here, when I first got them, they actually looked like they were gray. They were cold. It was winter time. I got them out of a guy's shop, and I could have sworn that they were gray, but I actually took the time to flip them over, look at the part number, and that's a tip that I will say to you guys. Google, look up your part numbers of black interior so that when you're going to buy things, you're informed. Because I got these real cheap. They didn't even look black. It was a combination of them being cold, but also just really dirty. And all I did was I took simple green, I wiped them down, and then I did some treatment, and they look awesome. I also got some A-pillar plastics, same day, looked the same way, and there was a couple of them I was really close to not buying, but am I ever glad that I did, because they turned out to be legitimate black. So I'm gonna go through, we're gonna clean up this dash, and we're gonna get this thing looking awesome. I also did these kick panels, same idea, a couple years ago, really didn't put much time into them. They could use a little bit more treatment to bring them back a bit, but they've literally just been sitting collecting dust. And I'd say they look pretty good because they didn't even look black when I first got them. So we're gonna get into this, clean this dash up. I'll go through the steps and show you guys what we can do to restore this black interior to save you from having to go through and re-dye They do have really good products for dyeing interior, but if you can't get a hold of black and all you can get is another color, that's another option. But if you do have some black interior and you can restore it back to its original color, bring back that luster, go through a couple steps, try it out. If you don't have to dye it and all you got to do is this, then you're saving that original black, so it's well worth the effort. At the end of the day, if it is sun-baked and faded beyond restoration, okay, you know you tried, no big deal, clean it up, dye it, and then you've got a good restored interior, but try and at least save it because they're only original once. Alright, so we got this pretty tough looking dash, but today is going to be a really good example, and I'm curious to see if I can bring it back and make it look as good as that one. It actually came out of a car that had a pretty hefty roll cage, as you can see, cut around the speaker area, both sides. The dash pad is missing. It has no dash frame. There's no HVAC ducting. The center's been cut up, but it is still, nevertheless, original black. It does have an original black glove box. This one was free, so it still has some value. Yes, it's missing all the vents and everything else, but you know what? We'll see what we can do. If you wanted to get adventurous, you could always take a pretty tough looking dash. If you had a donor dash, cut the corners out, glue them in. You could reuse this dash. There's options there, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this yet. In the interest of today's video, we're just going to use it to try and see if we can make it look as good as that one there. As I said earlier, I paid $100 for that, and it came, as you see there, plus the HVAC ducting in behind there. So well worth it. It does have a small crack up in here. Again, covered by the cluster surround when you get that on there. Couldn't really go wrong. Plus, it has a glove box. So we got simple green here. This bottle says glass, but I just reuse it with the standard simple green concentrate. So gonna give this a spray down and just go through, give it a good wipe. And this is my favorite product for cleaning, as it's not aggressive. It doesn't eat into the plastics or get too aggressive on any of the surfaces. It does a really good job. We're just gonna go through, wipe this all down. If you really have something that's super filthy, you'll probably want to go in all these crevices with a soft bristle brush. Try and get as much of that dust or dirt out of all those small little crevices if possible. Just get you a better finished product. Alright, we're all wiped down. I'm going to give this a couple minutes to dry off, and we'll move on to a couple other pieces that I've already got wiped down and dried, and I'm going to actually show you what I do to give them that nice black finish again. Alright, so we're going to start with this glove box. Pretty faded, gray looking here. It's already been wiped down with the simple green. And this is by no means an endorsement for this particular product. It's actually just what I had sitting around. It's really actually quite old. But this is a Meguiar's Tech Protect Interior Protectant. This stuff has been sitting in my car cleaning products for probably 10 plus years. I don't typically like shiny interiors. My dyed interiors that I had back in the day, I would actually use Windex Auto, which was safe on tinted surfaces, and it actually turned out to be safe on the dyed surfaces because it didn't actually dull or eat into the dye. It was safe on that. It just left a nice matte finish. So I've always liked that, but I found this actually goes in and it kind of restores and brings back some of what this plastic has lost over the years as far as its conditioning. So just like you add leather conditioner to a leather to actually give it that soft, supple feel again, I find this goes in and it actually kind of seeps into the plastic and restores its original color again. So there will be other products out there. You'll kind of have to try some different ones out. There may be something Again, this is NXT Generation Tech Protect. There might be something like it now. If I find something, I will put it in the description below, and then you can go out and buy a product that you can do. But try a couple different things yourself. Go out, grab a small panel. I tried on a kick panel first. Just tried a couple different things, had mixed results, and this is one that worked really well for me. So what I've done is I spray it onto a microfiber here and just go and just wipe it on. And it does go on pretty glossy to begin with, which I wasn't originally a fan with, as I had mentioned. I'm not that kind of guy. I don't like the Armor All look. But I found after I let this sit for a while that it soaks into that plastic and helps bring back a lot of that color. And as you can see, it's already gone from gray to black. And it'll settle in, and you can kind of buff it off. You can see it's already starting to dull down. And it's just such a dramatic difference. And as you can see, that took seconds. And there's a couple marks on it. And if that's too much for you, a couple little scuffs here, which when the glove box is upside down, honestly, probably not going to see that in the car. But if that's going to bother you, you're going to have to go ahead. You're going to have to get that SEM Lando black, and you're going to have to re-dye that. But as I said earlier, it's only original once. So if you can preserve these interiors rather than having to cover them up, and a lot of the times you don't get that OE finish. If you're in certain humidities or use the adhesion promoter, sometimes it turns out too glossy. If you don't use the adhesion promoter, a lot of the times you can get a little more of an original finish, a little more of that satin or matte look as opposed to the gloss that I find happens to come when you use the adhesion promoter. Again, that might you might be able to vary those results depending on your humidity that is surrounding, but for the time that took, I'd say it's pretty good. And when you can find something that's on really cheap, find Craigslist, Marketplace, go out, buy that cheap part. It's original black, salvaged it. These are the door sill plates, same kind of thing. That other set back there, all I did is I went through, simple green, scrubbed them all in between the indentations there, and then wiped them down a couple times, and you can see it's changed the color already back to the original black. There's a good comparison right there. They don't even look like they're the same. So it makes a world of difference. Just spend a little bit of time. We're gonna see what we can make that happen on that dash over there now. All right, here we go. Moment of truth. Got a couple spots on here that might need some further cleaning. It's a little more into the actual printing of the dash there. I'll try that a little later. You can always come back and clean it up a little more afterwards. But for now, let's just see what kind of color restoration we can get going on here. So far, looking pretty good. Oh yeah. Oh, that's amazing. You saw it like 5 minutes ago. This thing looked like it had mold growing on it almost. It was so filthy. It's been sitting in the loft of my shop, literally having dust collect on it for a year. Before that, it was sitting in my donor car outside, exposed to the elements and collecting more dust. So I'll get you guys in here and you can actually see the areas next to where I have actually wiped and where I haven't, to see what kind of transition we get there of color change. All right, gonna get you guys in closer here. We'll see the top of this dash where I've actually wiped till you can see right in here. So that looks gray, and then we transition into black. Looks pretty good all along there. And then we're back into where I hadn't wiped anything all along the edge there. Again, as I said, it's got a little extra shine, I'll go through later and actually give it a final buff off, kind of like what you do with wax. But this dash here, that's further in the background, I did this long time ago, and all I did earlier was literally take one of those dry microfibers and wipe the dust off of it. So you can see it's got that OE finish to it. It's got that little bit of a shine, but not that gloss that I can't stand. Not that, like, I want to call it that Armor All shine. You know what I'm talking about? That 90s super glossy, your hand slides off the steering wheel shine. Can't stand it. Drives me nuts. But just a quick coat of that, and that's all it took to bring that back. And I haven't done anything more with it, and it's just sat and it's maintained that. So that's been a really good product for me. I'm curious to try some other stuff to replicate, just to see what they have available today at your local parts store or detailing supply store. But I'll get a little close up on this too. You can see kind of what we've got going on here. Just got a good black color to it. Looks original, how it should. And I'm pretty happy for a $100 dash. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any advice or anything you'd like to comment down below, definitely throw it up. Anything that you'd like to add on for anybody else that might be watching this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you next time.